I'm really excited to share with you all an exclusive first look at Chuck Dixon's second Conan the Barbarian novel, Caravan of the Damned. I really enjoyed the first one, The Siege of the Black Citadel. It was an excellent little novella, really short read. Once you pick it up, you can't put it down. You can read it in one sitting. Highly recommend it if you haven't checked that out already. But we have a first look at the second one, as I said, Caravan of the Damned, which was provided to us from publisher Castalia House. And here's a look at some of the cover that we're going to see. There's some mock-ups here of the cover, and by artist Adamir. And what's interesting is that we're not just going to get the cover. There will be illustrations within this one. The first one didn't have that, but I did speak to Vox Day, who is the publisher over there at Castalia House, and he says that they are planning to put in illustrations in a second edition for the Siege at the Black Citadel. So looking forward to that, and it looks really good. This artwork looks absolutely fantastic. But let's get into this Caravan of the Damned here. The book sees Conan leading a large band of merciless bandits across the bone-dry wastelands of the Zuagir, where he doesn't hesitate to attack even the most well-guarded caravans. In fact, Conan relishes the challenge, surmising that the greater the risk usually means the greater reward. However, some treasures might be too dangerous to keep, a lesson Conan quickly realizes after his bandits ambush a royal Turanian caravan to the high court of Hadranor. Not only will the book see Conan leading his bandits on raids through the wastelands of the Zuagir, but hidden in the sands of the deepest desert are horrors too dreadful for even the most fearless barbarian to imagine. And as you can see here, this artwork looks absolutely fantastic. Adamir is the artist, did a great job. Just look at this. I mean, absolute savagery. Love it. Looks really good. Can't wait to see this. And then I actually saw one of the, we'll get to it a little bit later on here in the article, but we do have one of the illustrations from the Siege of the Black Citadel, and it basically is like what I was imagining in my mind as I read it. Like, that's how good this stuff is. So not only do we get a brief synopsis, and we do have an excerpt from the book as well that I'm going to read. I'm probably not going to do a very good job. I don't plan on getting into the audio book business anytime soon, but I will read it for you. I did speak to Chuck about this as well, and he kind of gave us a little bit of a brief rundown in the book and kind of some of the challenges that he had in it and that he relished having. And so he says, Caravan of the Damned is set in the time when Conan was a desert reaver. I wanted the challenge of writing a story that was an extended chase. It's unlike anything I ever wrote for Savage Sword. So that's really interesting. I mean, Chuck did a ton of comics in Savage Sword of Conan, and he's saying this is unlike anything he wrote in Savage Sword. It's an extended chase sequence. I'm really excited about this. One of my favorite fantasy books is fantasy series is the Book of the Fallen of the Malazan Empire, and my favorite novel in that is I believe it's the fourth one. I can't remember the title right now, but basically it is a great chase sequence. The entire novel is a chase sequence, and it's really fun. So I'm really looking forward to that. I have big expectations for this, especially after the first one. But he goes on and says, the fun for me is restricting myself to the vocabulary and writing form that Howard used. I don't want any jarring stylistic anachronisms to take the reader out of the story. If I've succeeded here, the story should read like it would have been perfectly at home in an issue of Weird Tales. And I think he really did really good picking up on Howard's writing style in the first one. So I think he's probably going to do a good job in this one. So, like I said, he previously made a point of that he was going to mimic Howard's prose style when he discussed the first novel with us, The Siege of the Black Citadel. He says, I was totally immersed in Howard's bravura writing style as an adolescent. I liked the challenge of creating a new Conan story written in that style. So much of Howard's prose relied on the reader to create vivid images in their own imaginations as they read. I really wanted to see if I could inspire that same brand of wild visuals. And I think he absolutely succeeded in The Siege of the Black Citadel. And I think he probably succeeded here too, because you're getting this art from Adamir that is indeed conjuring probably what Chuck wrote on paper. You can see maybe some of the villains that we're going to see here, these like werewolf type figures. Looks really interesting with the camel there. I mean, the artwork looks absolutely fantastic. I can only imagine the words that Chuck wrote to do that. And so then here, this is the image from the first one, from the first book, the illustration we read. If you read The Siege of the Black Citadel, you should know exactly where this came from, straight from the book. Really well done illustration. Really looking forward to this. Is the river here at the base of the Black Citadel. Really comes out. So, but this is what you're all been waiting for, right? This is the exclusive excerpt. So let's get into this here. These were the wolves of the Zuagir, bandits and worse. They sat waiting in the shadows, cast by their ground-reined horses, men in mufti and soft-soled boots. Some leaned on the hafts of long lances. Others busied themselves by restringing sinew bows. A few, a few dozen, a few dozed, heads lowered to rest on crossed arms set atop their knees. A mixed band of cutthroats and thieves that were the sweepings of the flesh pots, the chafe of the hinterlands, the refuse of ports all along the coasts of the Viliat Sea. Fatherless scum, men of no tribe, men who found a purpose in banditry and a talent for slaughter. They came from every corner of the world, hillmen of Drujistan, deserters from Turin, brigands out of Zamora and Karaja. These were men with prices on their heads from across the southern kingdoms, Emirates and Kanates. For better or ill, they were Conan's sword brothers and looked to him as their chieftain for as long as it suited him or them. So, giving us a description of the people, the company that Conan is keeping in this book. Really looking forward to this. The book goes on sale, or is expected to go on sale later this month in September. And then the hardcover for both Caravan of the Damned and The Siege of the Black Citadel are expected to go on sale in October. I do know that Dan Lawless has been working on a hardcover. He's been sharing some of his work on that on Facebook. So you can check that out there. And then if you want to get The Siege of the Black Citadel, if you haven't already, you can pick that up at Castalia's store at castaliahouse.com. And here's the cover for that. It was really good. So I hope you guys enjoyed that. I'm really looking forward to this one. I think Chuck's work on Conan is really good. And like I said, I'm really excited to get this. I have the first one on my shelf here, and I picked it up and couldn't put it down. So I hope I'm expecting the same from the second one. And it looks like they're going to be different, right? The first one is a little bit of a heist story and like an infiltration, and then it turns into a heist towards the second half. And then this one looks like it's going to be a chase sequence. So again, really excited for it.
Subscribe for more.